Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to react to one of the most delusional English pundit ever. First, we'll react to his reaction before the game, and then we'll react to his reaction after the game.
The thing about Bellingham, Simon, just before I forget it, I watched him last night. He's only he's 20 in June. He's 21 in June. He's 20 at the moment. But, you know, he picks his moment just to get the crowd going. This is the Bernabeu. You know, this is the Real Madrid faithful. Yeah. He's like, come on, you lot, get behind us. He's 20.
Yeah, no, he's settled in, and you've got to give him lots and lots of credit for it. Yeah, Madrid aren't the side that they were before, and I would dispute that they are the second best side in Europe. I think the German team at the top of the German league, and I've been criticised for his pronunciation, so can someone tell me, is it Kusen or Kausen?
I just let you go.
Bro, are you dumb or what? Leverkusen or Kausen? Where do you find W here? How the hell it becomes Kausen? Like, that just shows that he's trying to find some kind of nitty-gritty, something that doesn't matter to bash other opponent.
Yesterday when it was Leverkusen, and then it's Bayer Leverkusen.
Leverkusen.
Yeah,
I keep saying it wrong.
No, if Madrid played Leverkusen 10 times, they'd beat them 7.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this is a side that's running away with the Bundesliga, and this is a side, Madrid, that have only just got themselves into a position where they can win, because up until about 6 weeks ago, an unrecognised side in Spanish side was sitting top of the league.
But do you not think it's a pick 'em, the second leg?
I think
Real Madrid not more than capable of going to the Etihad and winning.
City would
they're really capable of it, but I think if City are on their game, put Kyle Walker on, shut Vinicius Jr. up like he normally does, I think they'll bash Madrid.
Well,
I think they're a much better side than Madrid.
The thing is,
Man City will bash Real Madrid. Oh my God. I mean, so much funnier when you watch a reaction after the game. Oh my God. I mean, most of the English pundits, they thought Man City literally will bash Real Madrid. But in football, when you predict something, that will not always happen, because in football anything can happen, right? Here's the thing: if he would say, okay, Man City will beat Real Madrid, that's his choice. Anyone can predict any team to win, right? It's prediction. But when you say smash them, bash them, trash them, that's when it becomes problematic.
The thing is, the Vinicius and Rodrigo playing up front together, he's not really played. They switch it. Some of that's one will go out on the left, one will go out on the right, but they're playing as a 2 and 1 behind. So it's not as important that Walker's back to marking man. I thought Kanji did a good job, actually. What's City's strength is the way they can just open any team up. They got in some brilliant positions last night, scored 3 in Madrid. I mean, nobody does that. And that's not even playing to their max.
Chelsea went there a couple of years ago and bashed them up and only got caught out in the last 5 minutes, didn't they?
That was Chelsea of a different era, wasn't it?
Okay, who won the tie against Chelsea? Is it Chelsea or Real Madrid? I mean, yeah, in fact, Real Madrid was having a bad game on that day at our home. But we showed resilience, that we showed character, that we showed that even when everything going against us, we can do something that's most people don't expect to do. At the end of the day, what does matter? Who wins, right?
What's your gut instinct, Danny? I don't think it's far from over.
I think City would have to have problems. A bad day at the office not to beat them.
Right. And you take City?
Yeah, I take City and Arsenal. Not because I'm someone who said a little Englander. I think Arsenal are a better side than Bayern Munich. I think Bayern Munich had their moment in the sun and they'll revert to the type that they've trotted out for most of the season domestically.
I think City will.
And I think City will beat Madrid and go through to the semi-final. Absolutely.
Again, so many wrong takes from this guy. Like, his takes are so delusional, it's beyond believable. Even people with single brain cell would not make comments like him. He said, Arsenal is a better team than Bayern Munich. Okay, I know that Bayern is not having best season, right? Because Leverkusen is having insane season. On the other hand, Bayern is having subpar compared to what we know of. But even given that, Bayern in Champions League is different team, right? And also Arsenal, what's their history in Champions League? I mean, even if you watch Arsenal, they are not the same team what we see in the Premier League versus in Champions League. They were behind against Porto. So Arsenal was totally average in Champions League. And you thought they are a better side than Bayern Munich just because they are English team. That's the only reason that explains why he thinks that Arsenal is better than Bayern Munich. Anyway, this is before the second tie. So let's react after. This will be much more fun.
Arsenal and Manchester City being knocked out of the Champions League by Bayern Munich and Real Madrid respectively. Can't really argue with anything that Guardiola or Arteta have said there, Simon.
Yeah.
I mean, Premier League dominance stopped short then on the European stage. But what impact might we see in the title race here? Derailment or a refocus of minds?
Probably neither, really. I think they've both already got very strong mindsets. I thought Arsenal looked a tad lacking in confidence in this game and a little bit of belief, but not much. And I don't expect it to fall away. I liked Arteta's conference afterwards. I don't think he should use examples of what he's done in the past to get somewhere as some blueprint to follow. If it's taken other people 10 years to achieve something, which is what he's kind of saying, other clubs 10 years, then our progress is good. I'm not sure that's the greatest of arguments because you're looking to emulate other things, not follow them.
Listen, Arteta isn't wrong. He was right. Because if you look at Champions League history, Arsenal played only 2 times in Champions League semi-final. That shows the history, right? That shows that what they're capable of in Champions League.
But I also think that it will do nothing for either one of these clubs in terms of derail their Premier League season. I don't think it will make a scintilla of difference to Man City. The margins in the game Man City lost that game are so small. They weren't really in control of either one of the ties, even though they were the better side in both. I thought they were the better side in Madrid, and I thought they were the better side last night. And somehow they managed to concoct an outcome that didn't result in them getting past. And people will look at the Real Madrid luster. I think Real Madrid sometimes are like the Gareth Southgate of domestic football. They've rubbed a 4-leaf clover. They somehow get through games that they have no business getting through.
Holy moly. Real Madrid is the Southgate of club football. What a horrible, nonsensical, utter rubbish take. Look, what an analogy you can make that doesn't make any sense. Because Southgate's team never win, right? They don't win anything. And on the other hand, Real Madrid, they win. They have the most Champions League in history. And there is a reason for that, right? So this just shows that how much angry and mad he is because all his beloved English teams are out of Champions League. Now he's trying to find something that doesn't make any sense at all. It's like typical football fans. When their team lose, they find something totally stupid to say that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, come on.
No,
they've made the Champions League semi-finals 12 times in 14 seasons.
And it is a miracle sometimes to watch how they've managed to achieve it. Because
the Champions League trophy belongs to that club.
I concede that the record book is undebatable, but when you watch the game, sometimes you look at it and go, I don't really know. Man City must be scratching their head looking, I don't really know how he didn't manage to come out of that game. I think there's something like 25 corners, something like 70% possession.
Bro, Simon, listen to me. I know that you don't have so many brain cells to think about. In football, how many corners? 25 corners, 100 corners? That doesn't make you win a match. 70% possession? That doesn't mean anything in football. You know what does matter in football? Scoring more goals than your opponent. And you might argue, okay, Real Madrid didn't score more goals than in City. They have equal goals. But that's why we have a thing called tiebreaker. That's also scoring goals penalty. And Real Madrid scored more goals than Man City. That's why they won.
And Madrid managed to hang in there and get a result. And you have to give credit to it. I'm not diminishing it. I'm just saying it must be slightly perplexing. So when we say, oh, look at this so-called powerhouse of a Premier League getting chastened in Europe, I don't quite see it that way. I don't quite see it that way. I accept and concur with the view that it's a phenomenal competition for Real Madrid because they've dominated it in Europe. It's a knockout cup. They achieve something in a knockout cup.
Yeah, first of all, why is so perplexing to understand that Real Madrid is winning in Champions League? First of all, okay, look at how the match went. In football, sometimes you have to defend well, and there are a lot of instances. The team who defended well, they become the winner because defending is a part of football. Let me give you one more analogy of football in terms of battle. If you look at our human civilization, right, where so many battles, a lot of top historical battles were won by that team or side who had a better defensive plan, not just attacking. In the old battles, like one side would be like collecting all the soldiers, they have the strongest armors, they have everything, and they're the strongest, and everyone will think they'll win. But other opponent is smaller, right? Significantly smaller, they don't have enough equipment, but somehow they win because one thing they use is called brain, right? It's about having tactical brain. Second point, that's also one of the dumbest thing I have ever heard. He said, Real Madrid only win knockout tie. What the hell are you talking about, man? It would totally make sense if Real Madrid would not have so many La Liga titles, if they would have just Champions League, nothing else. But that's not the case. They're the king in everything. Aside from Copa del Rey, which is Barca, which Real Madrid doesn't care, by the way.
Whilst it's a wonderful tournament to win, and Souness will tell us it's the pinnacle of a managerial career to win a European Cup. But it's 13 games, right? A domestic season.
But it's a company you're keeping.
Granted. But it's notwithstanding it, it's
no matter how they did it, they saw off Manchester City last night.
And they did. They saw up.
They went ahead at the Etihad last night.
They did, and Manchester City went ahead 3 times against them in the Bernabeu, and each time Madrid got back with deflected goals and kept themselves in the game. And you have to give admiration for it because there's something about the stickability. I don't think I looked at Real Madrid going, look at that wonderful Real Madrid side. Look how fluid they are. Look how fluent they are. Look how they absolutely are so easy on the eye. They're a beautiful football team to watch. I thought to myself, City are a far better football side, but by a series of absolute, I suppose, fortitude from Madrid, they get through.
Yeah, first of all, none of the Real Madrid fans claim that Real Madrid plays the most beautiful football. In fact, Real Madrid employs a tactic is called pragmatic football. They'll play beautiful football if they needed to. For example, look at Anfield last season at their home. One of the most scintillating football you can ever watch, right? 5-2. We smashed Liverpool for the first time in their history. And we can also play very pragmatic defensive football like last tie against City. That's called football brain. They do bare minimum what they have to do.
Manchester City, I could not disagree with anything Guardiola, not that he'll care about that, but I couldn't disagree with anything that he said at the end. They were exceptional, as they always are.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they came off losers last night. And that's it. And the hard facts are, they're out.
Well, they are. I mean,
so we've missed out on an Arsenal-Man City semi-final.
Well, that kind of is what it is.
And we've missed out on one of the two going to the final.
Being in a UK final or a UK venue. Look, the point is that Manchester City were beaten by, and it is the results business. So at the bottom line is you lost on a penalty shootout. Madrid had the fortitude to overcome all the adversity of taking penalties against a very hostile crowd. Might help if that hostile crowd handed the ball back to one of their players and made him not wait 40 seconds to be able to take a penalty. Doesn't excuse a professional footballer chipping it into a goalkeeper's hands, but might not help. I think
that's a good point. Actually,
I think you look at City and again, I make the point. I haven't, I'm not vested interest in City. If you listen to half the City fans, they think I've got a vested agenda against them.
Have you?
But no, I haven't. Right. But I look at the fact that they were, in my mind, they were a better side than Madrid over 2 legs. Somehow, some way, and a penalty shootout was a determiner. Madrid managed to find their way through.
Yeah.
But I look at City, but at no point in those 2 ties, despite the fact that possession-wise and quality of football-wise, I thought they were a better side, they never had control of the game. So you have to give that to Madrid, because Madrid hung in there for the entire game. Perhaps if De Bruyne, who, lots of people have lots of impressions of, he's a very good player, sticks one in the back of the net when he should have done, we wouldn't be in extra time, or we wouldn't have been in a situation where Man City needed penalties. And the lottery of a penalty shootout, because it is a lottery.
Yeah.
So at this point, he's blabbering himself. He's contradicting himself. He said, Man City better side, not 1 time, 10 times I think so far. Like better side. And he also said, despite being Man City better side, they did not have the control of the game. Isn't it the better side who's the team who would be controlling the game? That doesn't make any sense, right?
I mean, we always say what Premier League we've got, and we do.
We do.
What clubs we've got trying to win the Premier League, and we do. But they stumble. They stumbled last night. Just when the stakes were at their highest, they stumbled and went out.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't hold the Champions League, which is made up of 90% of the team which aren't champions, in the same way that others do. I think, like the Brian Clough mentality, the most important thing is the domestic league. I realise that the Stardust and the defining aspect is that you're playing amongst the elite of Europe. And so if you win that 13-game tournament, you're perceived to be the best.
It's the elite competition.
I understand that.
The elite competition.
I understand that, but it's not always won by the champions of their leagues, are they?
Doesn't matter. The elite are in there.
It's a knockout competition.
Yeah, but I mean...
So at this point, I had to pause and close the video because that was enough for me to watch his rubbish take. He's saying Champions League is knockout tie, so it doesn't have the same amount of significance like domestic league. Champions League is the best league because it's played by the only elite teams. And also it's become more interesting, more difficult, more challenging for most teams because it's a knockout tie. That means you have to go through by winning 2 overall tie, right? On the other hand, if you look at league or domestic league, you can lose 1 or 2 big matches. You can still win the league, which shows that they don't have the same kind of significance, which just shows that Champions League is more challenging, more difficult to win. That's why a lot of top teams barely win Champions League. Like Man City, despite they spend so much money, billions of money, they only won one time. And there is a reason for that, because it's a knockout tie, and that's not easy to win. Anyways, just another day with so-called English pundit having so much arrogance and so much disrespect for opponents, not having respect. He could say, okay, I respect how Real Madrid did. Yep, I was wrong, but no. He's finding some kind of stupid, nonsensical take which doesn't make any sense. And there's no logic, there's no analytical point of view in his take. Anyway, let me know. What do you think about his comment?